Potatoes will be potatoes for life, I tell you. That is the way, and it shall be the way. And it shall be the way for the time being. Nothing I can do to change that, of course. The salt is real, of course. They didn't invite me to the first 2 games, they just ignored me, so... Here's a tip for you guys. Don't ignore people. If you ignore people, well, people won't like you. It's a simple life tip. And for those of you who are interested in developing actual social skills, please go read How to Make Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I think it was written in 1996. But we are going to start the game now. Ooh, good lord. We are going to have MyLifeFrAiur, who did have mic problems on his stream just now, and I'm afraid the admins for their team are really complete dickholes. So it's very rare that I use such strong language, but dickholes they are, and dickholes they shall be. And I'm sure Twitch has no limitations on how many times I can use swear words on the stream, but for now, let's forget about that. But as I said, that book is very good. How to Make Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Written in 1996, if I'm not mistaken. Very useful book, and the admins of their team should definitely read it. Although I doubt they'll learn anything from it, so... Of course, we have a beautiful Terran boy from the Cutie Club. We have MyLifeFrAiur, who is a Diamond 1 or 2 random player. Of course, in the bottom right, we have from their team Fantasy, who really is just a fantasy. He will get crushed by MyLifeFrAiur so easily that you won't even be able to blink before it happens. Because MyLifeFrAiur, he's a Terran god, he's a mech god, he's a bio god, and he's going for gas first. Whilst his opponent is also going for gas first, but be aware, MyLifeFrAiur has lots of tricks up his sleeve. I've seen him do Reaper rushes, Cyclone pushes, tank pushes, and he is very proficient with them. And he's going to completely wreck this new player who nobody knows about, of course. Who the hell cares about Fantasy, am I right? Just using a fake name of Fantasy, who's a professional player, and using it for his own account. What a traitor, and he will pay for his transgressions with a devastating loss. By the way, if you guys cannot hear me, or if you can't hear me clearly, just let me know in the stream chat. I will be able to fix my mic settings pretty quickly. I have absolute control over everything. Look at MyLifeFrAiur. He's going to kill Fantasy's SCV. Nope, Fantasy's SCV is going to escape. And he does send out the SCV scout. I'm sorry, MyLifeFrAiur was planning to dual cast all the games with me, but unfortunately his stream wasn't working and his mic seemed to not work when I was talking with him, so unfortunately I will be the one to cast this game. And of course, I know Beastie is going to cast this later, but it's always fun to have someone of a lower level casting Diamond games, especially between these two guys. And Beastie, whilst his casting is very analytical, very strict and rigorous, and very reminiscent of a high-level Grandmaster player, my cast will mostly be focused on, you know, making offhand silly jokes and comments about the game, and maybe a few, you know, analytical comments as well. Who knows? But it's better to always hype it up, right? People want to listen to something entertaining sometimes. I mean, not everything is just about education, you know. Not everything is just about how to be better at the game. So, you know. Very good. I was afraid you guys couldn't hear me. So, I was sort of ranting there, but rants are always good, just as long as it's not a Velo type rant. A Velo's just a very, very salty player who I believe has mental problems. He seriously should seek a psychiatrist, in my opinion. MyLifeFrAiur, he's going very safe, of course. He really likes putting the bunker there. Even though I'm not sure about this bunker placement sometimes. Because if MyLifeFrAiur was against Protoss Stalkers can just walk right through here and start sniping SCVs, and just walk out slowly whilst kiting. But in this case, it is Terran versus Terran. So we're expecting to see some very interesting sort of... Oh, no, Fantasy's going for Cloak Banshee. I'm sure MyLifeFrAiur is prepared for that. Nope, he's not prepared for that. But he does have quite a large number of Cyclones. And Cyclones can basically destroy a Banshee quite quickly, I believe, with their lock-on ability. Oh, don't worry, Rakirian. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce your name. But Beastie, he's pretty nice when he casts games. I mean, he's not the most exciting caster, but he does a pretty good job at explaining player decisions and analyzing and pointing out your mistakes, whilst not in an overly critical way, I guess. So MyLifeFrAiur, he's playing it pretty safe, but he decides to move out and instantly destroys that goddamn Banshee. Unfortunately, this Cyclone is very low on health. He does micro it backwards, a very good job. And indeed, Fantasy SCVs do manage to repair the bunker in time, and MyLifeFrAiur is going to pull back with this Cyclone only having 10 health. 10 health indeed. Now be two-shotted by a Marine, and I'm not sure why an SCV is in the bunker. What a plebeian. What a freaking plebeian. We do see MyLifeFrAiur taking double gases at his expansion. He is putting on more factories. He is indeed going for MECH. MECH is going to be very, very fun to watch. And against this, well, this plebeian bio player who knows nothing about the true MECH god, who is Beastie. Beastie is the true MECH god. MyLifeFrAiur taking a page out of Beastie's book, and he's also taking a page out of Fantasy's book. He's building his own Cloak Banshees. Must have gotten some inspiration from that initial push, seeing the opponent's Banshee. Fantasy, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's going for... What on earth? I mean, what is this? Oh lord. What a potato build he's going for. He's going for Reactor Starport, which he's not going to build anything out of. And if he does build Medevacs, I'm seriously going to smack the table, because 2 Medevacs out of that Starport is not going to do anything for like 6 Marines, okay? So if he builds 2 Medevacs, you know he's a noob already. And we see MyLifeFrAiur, he is going to continue building up some tanks. He just now finished his second Cloak Banshee, I believe. His first Banshee is here, is going to cloak it in time. Please, please, MyLifeFrAiur, please click that cloak button, cloak it. Yes, he cloaked it. But Fantasy does have a missile turret here, and the missile turret does rain destruction upon cloaked units. And a fun thing to note, I suppose, is that missile turrets do have a detection range that is larger than their firing range. So if you click on the missile turret, it doesn't show the range, I'm not sure why. Anyway, if you click on the missile turret, there should be like a range indicator or something. But their detection rate is actually much larger than their firing range. So in case you didn't know that, just, you know, a heads up. MyLifeFrAiur, he did land his 3rd base already. Control X, okay, sure. Oh, thanks. I guess that changes the player colors, I guess, sort of. It's supposed to be this, I think, changing the unit colors. Nope, nope, I'm not sure what Control X does. Oh, thanks for that tip. I guess that just changed the colors of it. Wait, they changed it around. Oh, that makes sense, I guess. Nice little tip, I never knew that. So now we know that on the left side we have MyLifeFrAiur, who's in the top left, and in Fantasy is in the bottom right. That makes more sense, I guess. Thanks for the little tip. Zayad. Hello, my dear friend, Ceruleus. Zarulus, I don't know. Oh, you haven't played yet, have you? I believe your in-game name is Prostislaus or something. It shows me that you're OMG on my friends list anyway. So this one. Oh well, it looks like Fantasy is going to be a freaking noob. He's going to move out with 4 medevacs. It's like each of these Marines have their own private healthcare. Like, why this many medevacs, man? You can make a few more Vikings, a few more Liberators, and you can just push through MyLifeFrAiur's mech army. But no, MyLifeFrAiur is in the supply lead. He has a ton of tanks. What is this going to do against 4 tanks? Nothing. Very nicely placed sensor tower here from MyLifeFrAiur. He's going to float this barracks to check for drops. And indeed, he immediately notices it, and he's going to siege up his tanks right here, and Fantasy can do nothing because he made Marines and 2 tanks, and Marines aren't going to do anything. He's going to drop on top of the tanks, but that's obviously not going to work because there are lots of Hellions and Cyclones here. He's going to drop and circle around the sensor tower. That's not... Let's see if MyLifeFrAiur realizes it. I believe in MyLifeFrAiur. He even has a missile turret set up here. I mean, this is just next level plays. Come on. How can you even know a missile turret set up there? But anyway, the drop is going to do a considerable amount of damage because MyLifeFrAiur is not prepared for this. And indeed, the scans do go down, but all the SCVs are going to die here. MyLifeFrAiur making a small mistake, but MyLifeFrAiur has completed vehicle weapons level 1 and vehicle armor plating level 1. And Fantasy's Marines aren't really going to do a lot of damage per se, but that was much more damage than was needed, and that wasn't really very good for MyLifeFrAiur. However, a tank is firing, and there are a couple of Marines for MyLifeFrAiur. Fantasy is going to pick up and drop off right in the main base of MyLifeFrAiur. At the same time, he is going to try and drop on these tanks. Missile turrets, lots and lots of missile turrets for MyLifeFrAiur. 25 SCVs have been killed, but Fantasy, I'm not sure why his supply is not... It's not large enough. It's not large enough to push through this mech army. MyLifeFrAiur is doing a substantial job defending from these drops. But in the future, he should probably build, have a little bit more map awareness, glance at the sensor tower once every now and then, and he'll be able to spot the drops with no problem. I mean, look at Fantasy, he's not even building SCVs. He's not consistently building SCVs anyway. He's just now started some more SCV production. But unfortunately, MyLifeFrAiur is again in supply lead. And if you're in the supply lead with MECH, that's not a good thing for a bio player. More and more tanks are coming out. And I'm just wondering if Fantasy has any idea what he's dealing with. He's just making nothing but Marines and Marauders and a few Vikings. But is that really enough? He really needs to be adding on some Liberators, and he needs to be adding on another starport in order to counter the tanks and Hellbats. Because Hellbats, believe it or not, they do an awful lot amount of damage versus Marines, and I believe that Blue Flame has been completed. So Hellions and Hellbats, they're just going to melt through Marines. MyLifeFrAiur places very well placed scan there. It's going to siege up right here, and Fantasy can't really move in here, except if he takes this little choke point here. Fantasy is just going to, well, he's going to A-move with his Marines, and unfortunately that is a terrible, terrible idea. And what on earth is Fantasy doing? He has so many medevacs. What is this? He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 medevacs. It's like this Marine now has 7 medevacs to support it, and a 4 is coming out from MyLifeFrAiur. Fantasy is just going to crumble under this pressure. There's just no way he's going to handle this. Look, he has nothing. He has absolutely nothing except for 7 medevacs, 2 Vikings. MyLifeFrAiur, you need to push out right now. You need to win this game. You need to regain our lost glory for Beastie Boys. And if you don't push out right now, you're just going to let Fantasy macro up again. But MyLifeFrAiur, he realizes it. And Fantasy, being the noob he is, he's just going to keep making Marines and Marauders. He doesn't care. And MyLifeFrAiur is just going to do a devastating blow against Fantasy. He's just going to crush his army entirely, and MyLifeFrAiur will take the win for Beastie Boy Clan. A well-deserved victory by MyLifeFrAiur. There's no way that Fantasy could stand against that mech play. I tell you, if you follow Beastie, you know the real way. You know the way. You know the way of the mech. Not like Fantasy, who just made Marines and Marauders very badly. Very badly done by Fantasy, but very well executed by MyLifeFrAiur. Even though he was caught off guard by the drop, the double drop in the early stages of the game, he defended very well, and that was a very well executed game by MyLifeFrAiur. Not so well by his opponent, of course. And I mean, APMs really don't speak all that much. I mean, look at Fantasy. He has nearly double the APM of MyLifeFrAiur, and yet MyLifeFrAiur, easy win for him. Look at his resource collection rate as well. This one, he dropped a lot of mules. I think the main message to take away from this is, don't build pure Marine Marauders against mech, but keep doing small drops and harasses to try to pull the mech army out of position. Fantasy did manage to do a little bit of that in the earlier stages of the game, but he failed completely to do that in the later stages of the game, so it was not that good for Fantasy. And that's the game, boys. That's the game indeed. That's the game.